Hi everybody, it's Dr. Anna here. Following on from my video about the primal brain and anxiety and what exactly anxiety is and how it works in the body and the mind, I wanted to talk a little bit about how the mind knows what to respond to, what to become anxious to, because it's all very well to say that anxiety is determined by our primal brain and its response to threat. But how does it know what is a threat and what isn't a threat? And the very simple answer to that is it knows based on what you tell it. You program your primal mind. We all program our mind. We all program our primal brain to respond to whatever we feel is dangerous. And the way we do that is about how we talk to ourselves. So, for example, if you tell yourself that dogs or spiders or horses are terrifying, they're really dangerous, you don't like them, you don't want to be near them, over time, your mind will take that as fact. Your mind will go, okay, they're super dangerous and I need to be hyper vigilant to dogs or horses or spiders. Similarly, if you say that the outside world is really dangerous because it's unpredictable and you might get hurt or you might be taken by surprise by something, again, over time, your primal brain will start being quite anxious and very threat aware when you leave your house and go outside. And this can be applied to everything, to anything. So if you tell yourself that unless you get straight A stars in your exams, it's going to be a disaster, that's what your mind will believe. If you tell yourself that certain social events are super dangerous because you're going to be in a position that makes you uncomfortable or you're going to be judged, then over time, that's what your mind is going to take on board and your mind is going to treat that as a massive danger. So it's really, really important what you tell yourself, because the primal mind, the primal brain does not assess the information you give it. It doesn't go, let me just evaluate that. Is the outside world really risky? What happens if there's a spider? Let me work it out and do the pros and the cons. That's not what the primal mind does. That is a very much a rational brain thing. And we're not dealing with a rational brain when we deal with anxiety. We're dealing with the primal brain. So it doesn't do any assessment. It just takes on board what you tell it. It totally believes it and it commits 100% to protecting you from whatever it is you have programmed it to protect you from. And that's really the key. That's the key. You can program it any way you want by repeated statements about what is safe and what is unsafe. So if you have programmed it that social situations are quite unsafe because you may not be liked or you may be judged adversely, then you will become socially quite anxious, and that social anxiety will be programmed and your primal mind will go, danger, 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 every time you find yourself at a social event. Similarly, the same will happen with exams. If you program yourself that it all has to be A stars throughout, then you'll become quite anxious around your work and quite perfectionist. If you program yourself that everything has to be perfect or it's not good enough and it's a failure, you will find yourself really struggling with perfectionism. If you program yourself that dogs are dangerous, you'll become quite scared of dogs. It sounds really quite straightforward in some ways, and in some ways it really is quite straightforward. But of course it doesn't feel straightforward in the moment. And when you're taken by surprise or you're overwhelmed by that flood of adrenaline that we talked about last time, of course, it doesn't feel so easy to control. So the main takeaway is understand that you can program your mind. You do program your mind. We all program our minds, and our parents program them from the moment we're born, and all our life events and our life goes into programming our primal brain. But you do have more control than you think. So be really careful what you tell yourself. And remember, your mind is not going to evaluate it. It will just take on board what you tell it is safe and unsafe, and it will commit to it 100% and run with it and send out threat signals every time you get into a situation that you have told it is unsafe. That is all for now. So see you again next time.